Yesterday we talked about the Israelites marching through the Red Sea and crossing there at what I believe is the Gulf of Aqaba. But it continues in verse 23 of Exodus 14. It says, "Then the Egyptians, all of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and charioteers chased them into the middle of the sea. But just before dawn, the Lord looked down on the Egyptian army from the pillar of fire and cloud, and he threw their forces in total confusion. He twisted their chariot wheels, making their chariots difficult to drive. 'Let's get out of here, away from these Israelites,' the Egyptians shouted. 'The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt.' When all the Israelites had reached the other side, the Lord said to Moses, 'Raise your hand over the sea again. Then the waters will rush back and cover the Egyptians and their chariots and charioteers.' So as the sun began to rise, Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the water rushed back into its usual place. The Egyptians tried to escape, but the Lord swept them into the sea. Then the waters returned and covered all the chariots and charioteers, the entire army of Pharaoh. All of the Egyptians who chased the Israelites in the sea, not a single one survived." So it takes all night to move the Israelites across. That's totally understandable. It's not really that far as mileage, but you're moving a large number of people. It takes quite some time to get them all across. You've got women, you've got children. So it takes all night to move them across. And as the sun began to rise, in came the Egyptians, chasing them with their chariots. Now, what had happened all night was that pillar of fire had sat in between the Egyptians and the Israelites while the Israelites crossed. What I think happened is God moved that, right? That pillar of cloud and pillar of fire moves. The Egyptians come rushing forward and into the area they go. But God even interjects in a way that we don't think about and isn't talked about all the time. He actually twisted the wheels and disabled their chariots to an extent so that they were trapped. So this was God's final judgment on Egypt. They had chased him. They had chased the Israelites. They had chased Moses and the people, and down they go. So this is God's final judgment, that the finest of the armies of Pharaoh would be wiped out. And when you think about it, this wind that had blown all night to open up across this shallow part of the Gulf of Aqaba, as I think, opened up this lane for the Israelites to walk across on this shallow land bridge. The Bible describes there was water on both sides. As soon as that wind stops blowing, back it comes. Now, one of the interesting things here is what God told Moses to do. It says, "Raise your hand over the sea again, then the waters will rush back and cover the Egyptians and their chariots and charioteers." Now, God didn't need Moses to do this, right? Didn't need him to at all. But God used this to give Moses, I think, more leadership credibility among the Israelites, and also as vindication. Because remember, they had accused Moses of taking them out into the wilderness to die, right? There were graves for us in Egypt. We'd have to come out here for you to kill us. This is God's moment to show the people Moses was his man and they could trust him. They gave some really low motivation to Moses. They questioned his heart and all of these things. But here through Moses, God works, and the whole nation can see that Moses was their leader. So Pharaoh is swamped and Moses is elevated. Both of God's plans and purposes work out perfectly at the Red Sea. See you later.